before a very special welcome. Today you're in for a treat.
Yes.
You know, Jesse asked me to read what was in the program and then introduce Arthur from myself. I'm not going to read what's in the program. Almost everybody who's got a program, you can read it. For those of you who don't know Arthur, he is a former Baptist minister. I like to say he's an evolved Baptist now, who found creative life, and he embraced the teaching. He's taught classes here, he's run the service here before, he's become a friend, he's helpful. What I want to say about Arthur is, if you've never heard him speak before, you are in for a real treat. Arthur will not stand in one place while he delivers his talk. I'm just going to let you all soak in the wisdom that Arthur has to present today, and then I invite you afterwards to talk to Arthur, because he has got so much goodness and wisdom to share that you really don't want to miss anything of it. And if you want to take notes while we go along, if you look in the program, there's a blank page there where you can take notes. Without further ado, I just want you all to give a big rousing welcome to Reverend Arthur Johnson.
Good morning, Creative Life. How's everyone doing?
Great.
How many of you are ready for a Happy New You? Put your hands together. Listen to this song as it plays. Since I couldn't get Diana Ross to come because she's probably already busy, I just thought I would bring her here by way of song. But this is a very powerful song. It says that I am coming out.
Here we go.
And if you had to say I'm coming out, who would be coming out? Who would be coming out? Because listen to what the song says.
I am.
There's a new me coming out. I just have to live. And I just want to give. I'm completely positive. This time around, I'm going to do it like you never knew. I'll make it through. Listen. I've got to break out of the shell. I have to shout. I'm coming out. So in 2019, who's coming out?
I am.
It can't be the same person that lived in 2018. Would you not agree? Because if there's no new you, there's really no new year. If there's no new you, there's really no new year. It's just a change on the calendar. But something has to change inside of me. So really, today could be the beginning of my new year. It doesn't even have to wait until January 1st. I gotta let it show. I'm coming out. So who's coming out?
Me.
Just give that some thought. Just give it some thought. Remember as kids, in my house, you had to get permission to go outside. Friends would come and knock on the door, and they would say, could Junior come out and play? And I'd have to go and get permission to come out and play. So who's coming out in 2019? If you had a mirror, I would ask you to hold the mirror up and say, self, who's coming out now? Is it going to be the same old self, or is it going to be this new self? This empowered self? This strong self? this resilient self, this self that will not take no for an answer, this self that knows that this is my best life now, not tomorrow, not next year, but right now. That's the person that's going to show up. That's the person that's coming outside to play. Ow! Come out! I've got to shout. I just got to shout. Because there's just something that's in me that just will not let me stay silent. I've got to shout. What I want you to do is we get ready to get started on today's live talk. I call it live talk because they have TED Talks. TED Talks are like 18 minutes, live talk 20 minutes, right? So I get 2 more minutes for a live talk. But today's live talk is titled Happy New You. Happy New You. So very briefly, for a short span of time, I am going to try to give us a few tips, a few techniques on how to create a new you for a new year. How to create a new you for a new year. What I want you to do right now is touch the person next to you and say, good morning. You're at the right place, at the right time, for a breakthrough into the new you. A breakthrough into the new you. And you say, why is it a breakthrough? Because there is something inside of you that is just pushing, that is just auctioning, that is just urging to come forth through you. But you have to be willing to allow it to come through. And unfortunately, we cannot perhaps put new things into old experiences. So what am I saying? What am I saying is simply something will have to change in order for us to truly create a new you for a new year. Because I saw on the news, Good Morning America, I just glanced by, and they were talking about the preparations for the party in New York, the party in Times Square, and that it's going to be over 2 million people there celebrating. 2 million people celebrating, right, the new year. So they're waiting for the ball to drop and the clock to go to 12 o'clock January 1st, and that was going to signify their new year. But do you not know that out of those 2 million people, right, for many of them, it's not really going to be a happy new year. Because after all of the festivities are over, after all of the fun is done, they go back to reality. Someone say reality. Yeah. Reality. They go back to reality, and reality perhaps is not as great as they would want it to be. Reality is not as beautiful as they would like it to be. But can I tell you that when you change how you look at things, the things you look at change. That's right. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So therefore, I can look at the same situation and see something totally different because I changed. So it's not about the new year. It's not about 1201. It's about what's happening within me right now. And if I change, guess what? Everything else changes. But if I do not change, nothing changes. Everything remains the same. How many of you are desiring change in your life? Yeah. It is time. It is time. It really is time. And oftentimes babies cry when it's time to be changed. Right. They will let you know when it's time to be changed. So for some of you who didn't raise your hand, right? And it may be because you were drinking your coffee, you were drinking your water, so you just couldn't get your hand up. just look at a situation in your life, and if it's crying out, that means it's time to change. That means it won't say, maybe it's our finances that say, hey, you know what? I'm crying, I'm screaming, I'm trying to get your attention. It's time to change. Maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's a career that we're in, and you know how it is. We don't want to really go. Right? We're just like rushing for Friday, right? We cannot wait for Friday, and then on Sunday we'll be moaning Monday. So we're really only living 2 out of 7 days because we really do not want to be at that particular job. Perhaps it's crying for a change, but it doesn't change until, say, I change. And when I change, everything else changes. Now, the great master teacher, in talking about change, he said it like this. It was very powerful, very profound. Jesus was teaching, and he was basically dealing with some questions that had been posed to him. And he gave this particular statement, which is going to help us in dealing with creating a new you. This is what he said. He said, no one uses an unshrunk cloth on an old garment. No one uses an unshrunk cloth on an old garment, or no one uses a new piece of cloth on an old garment. If he does, basically what will happen is the tear will become even worse because the new garment will pull away from the old. So for those of you who sew, back in the day, remember when we were, I know, you know, I came up in the neighborhood, right? So when we would get a hole in our pants, we had to get a patch. We didn't get to get a new pair of pants, right? Junior, go get your pants. I would get a patch, right? So mama would put a patch on it, right? But the patch would already be shrunk because if not, once the clothes are washed, it will pull away and cause the tear to be even worse. So Jesus uses this statement. Then he goes on to say, and no one pours new wine into old wineskins, right? And then he gives them some more about this new and old type experience. He goes on to say, because if he does, not only will the wineskins burst, but the wine will be wasted as well as the wineskin. He said, no. Someone say no. No. He said, no. You pour new wine into new wineskins. You pour new wine into new wineskins. So if 2019 is going to truly be a new year, I've got to pour some new ways into a new year. That's right. I'll clap for myself. I'll clap for myself. Because if not, 2019 is just going to be 2019, right? Because I'm pouring old ways into a new year. It's going to give me the same thing December 31st, 2019. And I wonder, where did the time go? Where did the days go? Why? Because perhaps nothing had not changed within me. But if something changes within me, everything outside of me has to change. Because everything on the outside of me is a result of me. Woo! Yeah. I know that's hard. That's hard. Everything on the outside of me is a result of me. Good, bad, or indifferent, it's a result of what's going on within me. Because as I love to say, everything is created twice. First, mentally, and then, secondly, externally. So it's either I allowed it or either I dictated it. But one way or the other, whatever has shown up has been a result of what was going on inside of me. And if something different was going on inside of me, perhaps I would have made a different decision that would have produced a different result. It would have produced a different outcome. Because I teach it like this: thought plus feelings plus action equal results. That's the formula for life. Thought, say thought. Thought. Plus feeling. Plus feeling. Plus action. Plus action. Equal results. Equal results. Right. So if my 2019 is going to be different than my 2018, my thoughts have got to change. My thoughts have got to change. That's why the writer said it like this. Don't be conformed to this world, but be transformed, be changed by the renewing of your mind. You do not have to conform to 2018. If 2018 wasn't all that we wanted it to be, guess what? It's done. It's over. It's in the past. But we cannot take that same mindset into 2019, because if not, we're going to get an extension of 2018. And I know we like to get an extension on our taxes, right? Especially when you owe But you do not want to get an extension on that which does not extend your love, joy, peace, health, and happiness. That's the only thing that you want an extension on. So how are we going to create this new you for a new year? Thought you would never ask. I just know you just like sitting there saying, when is he going to get to the punchline? When is he going to get to the punchline? Okay, here it is right here. The very first thing, David, that we must do in order to create this new you. Do I still have takers? We all in for the new you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Because sometimes people go into a restaurant, they walk out without eating. They go into a store without purchasing, right? So I wanted to make sure that everybody was still here. I know you're here in body. I just wanted to make sure that your mind had not already gone to Times Square and that you were still here. The first thing that we must do if we're going to create a new you for a new year is to notice what did not work.
All right.
We must notice what did not work in 2018. And not only must we notice it, we must nix it. We must notice it and we must nix it. Because if we do it again, the same thing will happen again. Because here in this teaching, we believe in what we call the law of mind and action. The law of mind and action. Thoughts become things. So if I continue to think the way I think, I'll continue to get what I've always got. So I need to understand what didn't work in 2018. So I need to notice, I need to take note of what didn't work in 2018. Now this is the deal. This message here is time sensitive. Someone say time sensitive.
Time sensitive.
It's time sensitive. Have you ever received a piece of mail and it would say time sensitive? I mean that you needed to read it by a certain time? Well, what I want to know, this message is time sensitive. At 12 o'clock, you will have 36 hours to act on this message. You have 36 hours because then it'll be January the 1st. So guess what? This gives us 36 hours jump start on everybody else. It's like, I'm on January 2nd. You just now January 1st? You should have came where I came on Sunday. I received some enlightenment, right? So we have 36 hours to act on what we're receiving. So we must be willing to take note of what occurred in 2018. Now I'll tell you, I'll speak from personal experience, right? Because as I'm teaching you, as I'm talking to you, anytime a good cook cooks a meal, they sample some of the food. How many of y'all cooks? Have you like tasted? You're in the kitchen tasting out of the pot and so forth. Well, I've tasted this. Right? I've toyed with this. God, is this really true? Is this really right? I've eaten this meal as I come and share it with you, right? What we have to do is we have to be able to look at our wins as well as our losses. I look at my life. You know what? 2018, I took some hits. I took some major hits in my own life. But you know what? I thank God that I'm still standing. I'm still believing because I understand the power of my mind. I understand my ability to recreate. I understand that anything that has been created can be uncreated by the power of my mind. I know that there's something in me that's greater than anything that's going on outside of me. I know that there's no situation outside of me, as long as I don't let it get inside of me, can affect me. Do you follow me? Yeah. So as I do this review, I look at the losses, but I also look at the wins. And what I want to do is I want to carry the win from the win into 2019. Y'all missed that one. Yeah. Because when even you cannot row, if you can get a good win, the win will take you where you want to go. Woo! I'll say that again. Whenever you cannot row, if you get a good win, it will take you where you want to go. I'm talking about a win that will blow you. You don't know how it happened. It just happened. You don't know what a breakthrough came from. It just came through. You don't know how the way was made. It was just made because you were in the boat. You were believing for something great to happen. Because if you don't believe for anything great to happen, nothing great will happen. William James said it like this. At the beginning of a doubtful undertaking, belief is the one thing that will ensure the successful outcome of the venture. Belief. So even as we go into 2019, perhaps for some of us, all we have is belief. We have perhaps nothing else to show for where we're going other than our belief. But do you know that that's all that it takes? Because the great principle says this: according to your belief, be it unto you. According to your belief, be it unto you. Believe and you shall receive. We have to believe, and if we believe, we put ourselves in a position to receive. So we must notice what didn't work and nix it. Here's the second point on note. We must notice what doesn't work and fix it. Because there are some things that we can't just get rid of. We just have to fix them. We just have to fix them. I can't throw the children away. I can't throw my son away. I just gotta work. I can't mix him. I can't mix him. I just gotta work to fix him. I just gotta work with him. You follow me? So there are some things that didn't work that I just have to nix. Margot, it's so good to see you. A win all the way from Hawaii. Bless you for being here. If I knew me speaking was gonna get you from Hawaii, I should have spoken a long time ago. No, I'm just kidding. So there are some things, right, that we nixed because it just didn't work. But there are some things that doesn't work, but yet we have to have in our lives. We have to commit to fix it. We have to commit to fix it. There's just some relationships, perhaps, that we have to commit to working on. There are some situations that we have to commit to working on. Maybe my health situation. Woo! I got little pounds here, got little pounds there. Maybe I can't go get surgery. I just got to fix it. I got to join everybody else at the gym on January the 1st. And stay past Martin Luther King birthday, right? You follow me? I've just got to fix it. I just can't pray that away. I just can't treat that away. But if I go and do the work, I can fix it, right? Because there's a power that's working inside of me that is greater than me. And if I work it, it will work for me. Say, I must notice. I must notice. So we're talking about creating a new you. And I know when you leave here, you have plans to do many other things. I would invite you, I implore you, I encourage you to take time to be with you and review your 2018. I know I had lunch scheduled, but you know what? An emergency came up. I'll get you on January 2nd. I got to take care of some serious business. Someone said, what you got to take care of? I got to take care of me. I got to put my own mask on right now. I got to see what didn't go right in 2018 because I'm not going to repeat 2018 in 2019. This is going to be my new year. It's not about just saying I'm living my best life. No, I'm creating my best life. Notice that's the difference. That's different. Because we hear people say, well, I'm living my best life. I'm living my best life. Well, you may want to just tell the truth. Because if we continue to tell a lie, we'll believe it. So I'm of the mindset, no, I'm not living my best life right now, but I'm committed to creating my best life. And each and every day, I'm going to work to create the life I desire to live. Because if not, we begin settling for less than our best. Because we fool ourselves. Oh, it's enough. Yeah. Oh, it's okay. No, it's not okay. No, it's not enough. And you know it. Everybody else knows it. I know y'all looking at me strange, like, why? I'll show y'all the text. Jesse sent me a text this morning. And he said, little bro, bring the house down. That's exactly what he said. And I sent him back a text and said, I am fighting a cold. I've been on meds day and night. And he said, hey, I'm going to treat for you. So that's where it stood. He's treating for me, and I'm here on meds, giving all I got to you, right? So we want to be able to take time and not let this opportunity pass us by, but understand what we have before us. And let's not just make it another day on the calendar that we just roll into 2019, right? Because, as I said, for some, 2019 is going to be extension, a continuation of 2018. There was no line of demarcation. We never drew the line to say, you know what? This is not going to be a line in the sand. This is going to be a line in cement. I'm not having this anymore. This is it. I'm not going back there anymore. That's done. Capiche. Bye-bye. Don't want to see you. Never shouldn't have been with you. I'm going forward, and this is what is going to be. Period. Point blank. End of story. Book closed. Chapter done. The credits running. Okay. The second thing that we must do, not only must we notice what didn't work in 2018, what doesn't work that we're now going to fix, but we must envision. Someone say envision. We must envision what will work. Because it's not enough just to note what won't work, but we must envision what will work. We must not only know what we don't want, we must envision what we do want. Now, envision is simply to use our powerful imagination, that great faculty of the mind that God gave us to create. And what I love to call imagination is really the mind of God in man. That's all it simply is. Oftentimes we use it in the wrong way, but if we use it in the right way, it will work right for us. But we want to envision what will work. We want to envision what it is we do want. We want to envision what it is we desire to have. Now, to envision is simply to use our imagination to create a picture of the possibilities that exist. To use our imagination to create a picture, to create an image of the possibilities that exist. And you know why this is so powerful? I thought you would never ask. I was waiting. No, we're co-creating. We're co-creating here. So I'm gonna give you your chance, but at some point I gotta step in, right? Yeah. So the reason that this is so powerful, and why we have to have it, and we have to envision it, is because Solomon said it like this. Solomon was a great prolific writer in the Bible, wrote Proverbs and Ecclesiastes, the wisdom of the world, to win the war of the mind as well as the life experience. He said it like this: without a vision, people perish. Without a vision, people perish. So if we don't have a vision of what we want in 2019, if we don't have a vision of what we want to experience in 2019, if we don't have a vision of what we want to become in 2019, guess what the mind has to work with? The same thing that happened in 2018. Because the mind works in pictures and in images. If I say living room, you probably pulled up an image of your living room. If I say your car, you probably pulled up an image of your car. If I say your workplace, you probably pulled up an image of your workplace. Correct? And see how I went through your mind? Just like that. Just like that. But your mind didn't say workplace, W-O-R-K-P-L-A-C-E. Your mind didn't say car, C-A-R. Your mind didn't say living room, L-I-V-I-N-G, R-O-O-O-M. It pulled up a picture. It pulled up an image. Well, it's no different than us deciding what it is we desire to experience. We have to be able to have an image, a picture of it. And I'll clap right now for Nora and for Lauren. Several weeks ago, we had a vision board party. If you missed it, you missed a treat. That's right. Yeah. You missed a treat. Why? Because we had an opportunity. It was just like Barney when he would play on the playground with those little kids. And he said, we're going to use our imagination, right? So just start creating all these different places. They're flying all around the world and so forth, but they're all using their imagination. Well, in this vision board party, we had an opportunity to use our imagination to conjure up some images of the thing that we wanted to experience in 2019. So now the mind knows what it's looking for. Because how many of us go into a store, perhaps, with a list of what we want? Oh, yeah. We probably come out with what we want. How many times we go in a store without a list and we come out with a whole lot of stuff that we come home and find out we really didn't need and we really don't want, because we didn't have an idea before we went in, and now we're probably in debt because we spent more money than we had. You follow me? So you see the power of having an image of what it is you want. So not only are we going to notice what didn't work, what doesn't work, now we must envision what will work. We must create a vision of what it is that we want. Turn the television off, right, and create a vision, right, of what we want to see. And I know they have shows called Lifetime. Many people spend their whole life watching Lifetime and never live a lifetime. I'm sorry. Many people must watch Lifetimes. I didn't get an amen right there. No Baptist church. I said, I must step on your toes, because nobody said amen right there. And nothing against Lifetime, but just don't watch it all day. And then I know somebody watch Hallmark. You watch the Hallmark channel, right? It's okay to watch Hallmark sometime, but every now and then you got to make your life a Hallmark. You sit back and watch your own life. Wow, this is pretty good. God, we did pretty good here. Y'all remember the story real quick, and I'm going to get running, of the man. He had a nice plot of land, and it was very nice with all types of garden-type vegetables and flowers and so forth. And passerby passed by and noticed how well it was. And he stopped and said, you know what, you got a mighty fine yard there. He said, the good Lord has been good to you. And the owner said, well, I beg to differ. You should have seen it when God had it all by himself. I'm going to catch that. I'm going to catch that. Because when he had it all by himself, it was just a barren plot of land. Right. But he came and worked with what God had given him to create something beautiful. As I love to say, life is a DIY project.
Oh, amen.
Life is a DIY project. It's a do-it-yourself project.
Yes. Yes.
No one can live our lives for us. I can't live my life for you. You can't live your life for me. You can encourage me, but I've got to live it myself. You've got to live yours yourself. And I don't have a right to tell you how you should live yours. All I can tell you is, you know what? There's something inside of you that desires great things for you. That's all I can tell you. There's something inside of you that desires great things for you. You're born into a great and grand experience to experience the great and the grand. If you believe anything less than it, perhaps you've not believed the truth. So we must envision what will work. We must envision what it is we do want. We must envision what it is we must do. Say, I must do.
Must do.
Yeah, because if I don't do, nothing happens. If I don't do, nothing happens. I call it the doo-doo philosophy. I know, hoping nobody had breakfast yet. Yeah, I call it the doo-doo philosophy. Sometimes we just got to do. We have to do. It's not out for talking. We just got to do. Stop thinking and start doing. Stop thinking, and so once you've thought about it, let's not do it. Don't be a victim of paralysis of analysis. If you want it, if it's in your heart, know that God is working with you, God is working for you, and go do it. Nike was right. Just do it. Just do it. The thing you've been sitting on, the thing you've been desiring, perhaps now is the time to just do it. What do you have to lose? Nothing. What do you have to gain? Everything. Just do it. I think Phil Knight probably heard the writer Paul say, you know, I can do all things through this power that strengthens me on the inside.
That's right.
Phil Knight was like, you know, that sounds pretty good. That's going to be the tagline for Nike. Just do it. He still should be giving royalties to the church right now. I don't know where the money's going. Hey, but this is our last point. This is our last point. We must notice what didn't work, right? What doesn't work. We must envision what will work, what it is that we do want, what it is that we must do. And the last thing that we must do is we must weave it into our daily actions. We must weave it into our daily actions. Because it's what we do every day that determines what we'll have at the end of the experience. It's not just what we do every once in a while. It's what we do every day that's going to make the difference in how 2019 turns out. And I would encourage each of us to take it one day at a time. Let's build this great life one day at a time. So we got 1 of 365. I've got 2 of 365. I've got 3 of 365. I've got 4 of 365. I've got 5 of 365. And make sure, Cedric, that at the end of every day, we have something to show for the day. And for those of us who understand the Bible story and the story of creation, God, right, spirit, source, divine mind, did not stop until it was all good. As he said, at the end of the day, he said it was all good. So it just seems to me that God kept working until he was satisfied with what was done. And then he called it good. That's what it says. If we go back to Genesis and read the story. It said that at the end of the day, he said it was all good. So he checked himself. He checked himself. Say, this met my standards. This met the qualifications I set. Now I can go to sleep. Can't go to sleep until it's right. Can't go to sleep until it's done. Can't go to sleep until I've gotten the work out in. Can't go to sleep until I finish the project. Can't go to sleep until I prayed. Can't go to sleep until I meditated. Can't go to sleep until I read. I can't go to sleep until it's done. Because then that's a good day. And you build those up, now you have a great life. Come March 31st, first quarter, you sending me emails. You calling Jesse. Hey, can I get a message to Arthur? Tell him I've already surpassed my last year experience. Because I took his advice to do it one day at a time. One day at a time. Will Smith tells a story. His dad had a store and he wanted them to build a wall. And what his daddy told them as they lamented about building this big wall, he says, this is what I want you to do. Don't focus on the enormity of the wall. Focus on laying one brick at a time, the very best that you can. And eventually, you will have built the wall. And the wall will be a great specimen of the effort and the excellence you put forth into each brick. So if we live each day with effort and with excellence, our experience will show forth of what we put into each and every day. So come December 31st, or whatever the last Sunday of 2019 will be, and maybe Jesse will bring me back and I get to close the year out again. And we can have a party. We can just all come back and say, let me see your notes. Let me see your notes. How did you do? Right? And we can share testimonies. But we must weave it into our daily actions and commit to experience the life that we imagine. Now, you see this beautiful flower I have on. The person who made this happens to be in the room. And you can see we have red, black, and white, and how it's knitted together, it's woven together. And I'm certain it was done one stream at a time. But it was woven together to create this beautiful flower. Now I'll ask a quick question. Ma'am, when you made this, did you have an idea of what the end was going to look like? Yes. She had a vision of what this was to become. And she sowed piece by piece by piece, knowing that eventually it would become that. So as we live our new experience day by day, know that it's becoming the grand experience that we've already imagined. Does that make sense? I'm tying it back together now. And it becomes that because we noticed and noted what didn't work, right? And we've now replaced it what we know will work. And we will continue to work it until it works out in our life experience. That's new. N, I want you to notice. E, I want you to envision. W, I want you to weave. Let me give you these 3 quick points. At the end, I won't elaborate. But what I will say is yield to the best of you. Yield to the best of you. Say, I must yield to the best of me. Because the best of you, the best of me is always desiring to come forward. It's always desiring to come up. It's always desiring to come out. But we have to yield to it. It's just like driving our automobiles. We have a yield sign. The yield sign means that we must slow. We must proceed with caution, correct? Yes. That's the Y. The O is I want us to live a life of observation. Observation. Observe our daily experiences. Observe our daily encounters. Observe how we are spending our resources on a daily basis. Whether it's time, whether it's talent, whether it's resources. Observe how we are spending it. Because if we're talking about creating our best life, perhaps we can't do the same thing we did last year. Perhaps I can't spend 2 hours in front of the TV like I did last year. Maybe it's only 20 minutes, and maybe it's in block time rather than in elongated periods of time. Because I have to ask myself, how is this feeding me? How is this serving me? Right? Because what I'm doing now is wanting my highest self to come forward. I want my highest self to express itself. So not only must we yield to the best of ourselves, we must also observe ourselves. And then we must unleash ourselves. That's the new you. That's the new you. N-E-W-Y-O-U. Did y'all get it?
Yes.
So if I'm becoming this new you for a new year, I'm noticing what's working, what's not working. I'm envisioning what will work, what must work. I'm weaving it into my daily experience. I'm yielding to the highest that's within me. I'm observing my daily actions, and I'm unleashing all of me all of the time. And if we commit to doing that, not only will it be a new you, it will truly be a new year. As Jeffrey plays silently, I'm going to share these last words. New ways of being, invested in new ways of behavior will produce new waves of blessing. New ways of being invested in new ways of behavior will produce new waves of blessing. Because we must work in concert with the Creator. And then we create great things. All eyes closed. All heads bowed, if you will. There's one life. That life is God's life. That life is my life now. It is in this life that I move and have my being. We know right here and now that all that we desire is available. Because the power of God is living us and breathing us right now. We're cautioned that we have not because we ask not. But not only must we ask in word, we must also affirm in deed that our actions support our asking. And at that point, we come into concert with the all-presence and the all-power of God that is flowing to us and through us and desires to express great things for us. So right here and now, we open up ourselves for that inflow, for that thrust, that rushing flow of spirit to touch us in such a way that that which is not right is made right. That which is crooked is made straight. That which hurts is now healed. That we may walk out truly a new person from the inside out, knowing that as we change on the inside, that which is on the outside conforms. We're thankful and grateful for all that has been shared in this moment. We're excited about the possibilities of the future. And we embrace this present moment here and now, knowing that it's creative and that it's indicative of what the next moment can be. So with that, we exercise stewardship of all the gifts and blessings that have been bestowed upon us, that we may show forth a grateful heart, a grateful mind, and a grateful spirit. And we know that all is well because we're anchored in the one. We ask these and all other blessings in the powerful name and nature of the one who lives and breathes us and calls us his own. Amen? Amen. And so it is. And so it is.